Good morning. I'm Billy Van Pelt, and on behalf of the Lexington Frankfort Scenic Corridor Board of Directors, I welcome you to the dedication of the visitor viewing area and scenic pull-off on Old Frankfort Pike and the National Scenic Byway designation on Old Frankfort Pike ribbon cutting. We're so glad that you're here today. Lexington Frankfort Scenic Corridor is focused on the preservation of the agricultural, historic, cultural, and the aesthetic values of the Old Frankfort Pike Scenic Corridor. The corridor extends from Lexington to Frankfort and from the north, I 64, to the south, US 60. At this time, I'd like to introduce our board chair, Tracy Farmer. Tracy, thank you for the leadership and vision that you have to guide our board and our projects.
Thank you, Billy, and welcome everyone to this great occasion. Uh, we want to, I want to thank the mayor and Gorton and honored guests for joining us for this dedication. As chairman of the Scenic Corridor, it was my privilege to work with a dedicated board. I can't see in the sun they're all here or not. Billy, would you introduce them all? I see John, Cret, Muffy, Chris Amos, yeah, Henry Alexander. Miss Ball, Myra gave us her all kind of help. But what I wanted to say, we also would not be here today if it had not been for the vision and tireless effort of Don Ball. And we should all pay a special tribute to him. This would have been his proudest day, and he put in, you can't believe the effort to do it. With that, Billy, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Tracy. At this time, I'd like to introduce Mayor Linda Gorton. Mayor Gorton, thank you for your steadfast leadership and your support of the Purchase of Development Rights Program, which has permanently protected several conservation easements along the Old Frankfort Pike corridor here in Fayette County. Mayor Gorton.
Thank you, Billy. Good morning, everyone. This is a great morning in the bluegrass. And I first of all would like to acknowledge our Lexington Fayette council members, several of whom are here. We have Council Member Chuck Ellinger and Council Member Kathy Ploman, Council Member James Brown, and have I missed anybody? Welcome. It's always wonderful to see you, Crit Llewellyn. Thank you. And the board members. So I'm also happy to see my partners in the Bluegrass ad and all our work there. Judge James Kay from Woodford County, Franklin County Judge Houston Wells. Great to see you all. Yes. So everybody look around. These green fields, the thoroughbred industry represented by magnificent Secretariat, the beauty of driving along a national scenic byway, Old Frankfort Pike. This is why we fight so hard to protect our beautiful countryside and the industry that sets us apart from the rest of the world. I am a fierce advocate for farms and farmers. When I look at these green fields, in addition to thinking about their beauty, I think about the people who work on them. The $2.3 billion economic impact they have each year on our economy. Clearly, the agricultural industry requires land, and the city's Purchase of Development Rights program, PDR, has protected 2,298 acres on this very old Frankfort Pike corridor from development. It's another type of incentive that we give businesses. As the current chair of our Rural Land Management Board, Gloria Martin is bringing our land preservation program to great levels of success and support throughout our county. Thank you, Gloria, and thank you, Beth Overman, our program director. Our city is not alone in working to preserve our farmland. The Bluegrass Land Conservancy has protected an additional 4,031 acres in this corridor. Thank you, Tracy Farmer. To you and to the neighbors who have worked so hard to make this possible. Thank you to Alex Campbell, Steve Grossman, the Triangle Foundation. And thank you to Secretary Gray and Governor Beshear for working to get this National Scenic Byway designation for Old Frankfort Pike. It has taken all of us, neighbors, local, state, federal governments, working together. But look around you and just look at what we can accomplish. Congratulations, everyone. Thank you.
Before we go any further, I want to recognize the president of Midway University, John Marsden, who's here today, and Tim Culver with Midway University. Midway has a spot on our board of directors because the university is a key anchor in the scenic corridor. Thank you both for being here. At this time, I'd like to introduce the Secretary of the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, Jim Gray. I must say that when I first contacted Secretary Gray, he responded immediately to support our nomination of the National Scenic Byway on Old Frankfort Pike. And his staff reacted very quickly so that our application could be advanced to the federal level for review and ultimately to be approved. Secretary Gray.
Thanks, Billy. Now, some of y'all don't know, but Billy was in California up till about, 10 o'clock last night? So he took the red eye to get back home just for this occasion, of course, and he has had such a big part in the entire project. And so let's give Billy Van Pelt a hand. You bet. Yeah, Billy, you were generous when you offered those comments about my reaction. What he didn't say was that I knew that if Billy Van Pelt was calling, I'd better get back to him quickly because it was going to be a good cause. And when you pair up Billy and Tracy and this remarkable board for a project that is really so inspiring in so many dimensions, then you know when you put that team together that it's all for good cause. And that's what this really does represent in so many ways. I dial back years ago, every time I travel the Old Frankfort Pike, every time I hear Old Frankfort Pike, I remember literally my first time traveling it. And it was before I'd ever had a chance to travel overseas. And this was when I just came to UK, freshman at first year law school. And I remember traveling it, and I remember thinking, there's just can't be any place more beautiful than this in the world. And, you know, it's often characterized just that way. So when Billy and Tracy called, I knew that this team was formidable in number one, and I knew that Old Frankfort Pike had such extraordinary character. And then the proposal itself, the application, when you read it, and I shared it with the governor, and he too immediately said, you know, we got to jump on this, do anything we need to do to help. And it was really modest. But it so represents what is today so important in our culture, in our society, in our country, and that is quality of place, that respects its history, that respects those stonemasons that created these iconic dry-laid stone walls that line the corridor. And it respects the native industry here, agriculture, and it respects geology it respects all of this, and those are all the factors that weighed into the application. You know, many of us probably don't know it, but I didn't know it at first. When I got this job, I didn't know that we had 37 scenic byways in Kentucky. 9 of those, Judge, I'm going to be a little special here for Fayette County, so y'all forgive me, but 9 of those, fully a quarter, are in Fayette County. But this is the first national scenic byway, and for that, you know, I wrap around, just say tribute again to all of those who worked so hard and with such conviction. And Tracy mentioning Don, I got a few of those calls too, Myra, from Don about the roundabout. Still, and I'm and Ray still gives me a few. So we're still working on improvements to the roundabout. But in any respect, it's a tribute to everyone who pulled this together. You know, it's crowding the winner's circle today in a very meaningful way, and that represents thanks to everyone. So thank you all so much. Thanks, Billy.
At this time, it is my honor as someone who is raised in Woodford County to introduce our next speaker, Judge Kay.
Thank you, Billy, and good morning, everybody. This is a beautiful piece of God's country that we are celebrating today, that we are vowing to protect for the future. And Old Frankfort Pike, as some have mentioned, is something that stands out as a memory when you've driven it, when you've spent time on it. And we're so honored in Woodford County to claim just a part of it. But it is a true connector, a connector between our wonderful Franklin County community and Fayette County community, Lexington, Frankfort, Midway, and Versailles. And we are dedicated to keep this grass green, to keep it open, to keep our farmers farming, Mayor Gorton, and to keep the families who live and serve and work on those farms and provide for their families with great, good-paying jobs. You know, I often say that we live in such a wonderful place, but the land is simply an asset gifted by God. Our true treasure are our people. And I'm honored to be here today with such wonderful leaders and great people, and nobody rises above that as well as Tracy Farmer. And this project, this corridor, the land preservation efforts in Central Kentucky would not be what they are without Tracy and Carol Farmer. And so we thank them. We thank all those allies and partners who have worked with Tracy and Carol to preserve land, to keep our farmland beautiful, to keep it active, and to keep it in a way that will define the bluegrass for millennia. So I am hopeful, as the father of 3 young children, that they will be able to take this road and go back in time and see what the bluegrass has looked like for so long, and we can preserve that and keep that spirit. Again, Woodford County is honored to be part of this, to support this, and to be a partner in the future with our great surrounding neighbors and communities. So thank you all. Thank you for the hard work and effort that it took to be here today, and we look forward to many, many more days like this, preserving our wonderful bluegrass. Thank you all.
Well, I'm now pleased to introduce our next speaker. As the home of our state capital, Judge Wells, I will tell you, whenever I take the Versailles Road exit on I-64, I always turn toward Woodford County and take that first left on Old Frankfort Pike as the western entrance to this National Scenic Byway. Judge Wells.
Some of you might say this is the beginning of the Old Frankfort Pike. If you're from Franklin County, that's the beginning. This is the end of it. Just wanted to tell you that, okay? I welcome all of you, and thank you for this glorious day, oh Lord, and thank you for your great work. Tracy and the board, thank you. This is a very special occasion. As I look at this roundabout right here, I want to tell you a funny story. Franklin County has a roundabout, and we built it about 6 years ago. And I was instrumental in working with the Transportation Department to get that roundabout built. So we had a public hearing about it, and there was about 100 people that showed up, and they were livid that we were going to put a roundabout in our community. And this one lady said, "Judge, I'm going to hold you personally responsible if something happens. If I have an accident with that roundabout, you're going to be responsible." I said, "Okay, just take your time." And then this other lady came up and said, "What happens if you just keep going around and around?" And I really didn't know how to answer that one. True stories. Thank you, Jim Gray. Mayor Gorton, Judge Kay, and myself know how important this is to our economy. Tourism is so important, and it's such a big thing. As you think about Woodford Reserve, you think about the Bourbon Trail and the town branch and all of that, the scenic highway part of tourism is a major piece, because people, if we know that people, once something is established, that they want to drive that highway. This is going to be a great example of another piece for our central Kentucky area that will help increase tourism and add value to the land and the property around here. As I came in on the old Frankfort Pike, I turned off you at Midway, and turned in here and passed a great restaurant, Wallace Station. I'm going to tout that because it is an awesome place. That's another piece that many people come and visit, so they come on the road to see Wallace Station. But about 2 miles from here, down on the right as I was coming in, there was a family that was in a van, and they pulled off the side of the road, and they got out, and they were out. There were 6 of them, and they had set up a camera to take a picture of their family with the horses in the background and the farm in the background. To me, that's personification of what this is all about. God bless you all for having the vision to make this happen. And thanks, everybody. Thank you for your great work.
At this time, we have a few more recognitions. Again, I'd like to recognize Steve Grossman and the Triangle Foundation. Steve, thank you for the leadership of the Triangle Foundation on the roundabout and the Secretariat statue, and for your partnership here at this scenic pull-off. I also want to recognize Jerry Woodall, who's represented today by his son, John Woodall. John, please tell your father how grateful that we are that he donated this land for this scenic pull-off, and thank him for making this project a reality. Next, I'd like to recognize Gloria Martin, the chair of the Fayette County Rural Land Management Board. Last week, at a Bluegrass Tomorrow event that I attended, Gloria received the Josephine Abercrombie Award for her decades of service to Lexington, Fayette County, and to the Bluegrass region. During that recognition, someone said that Gloria was Lexington, Fayette County's best friend, and I could not agree more. And on the note of the Purchase of Development Rights Program, in addition to Mayor Gorton and her support, I want to thank the Urban County Council members for their support for funding the PDR program. And lastly, I want to make sure that you're all aware that we have 2 representatives on our board that are also on the board of Bluegrass Land Conservancy, Libby Jones and Helen Alexander. So we also thank them for their support. So at this time, we are going to start the ribbon cuttings. And first, we will have Tracy Farmer and Secretary Gray. The ribbon will be stretched between these 2 posts, and we will begin with Secretary Gray. Then we will have Tracy and Mayor Gorton. And then we will have Tracy and Judge Kay, and then Tracy and Judge Wells. And I'd like to invite the Urban County Council members to come up with Mayor Gorton when it is her time for the ribbon cutting.
Okay.
This concludes our event today. Images from this event, as well as the video from this event, will be posted on our website, oldfrankfurtpike.org. And lastly, I want to recognize Chris Amos, who is our tireless colleague. And she submitted and put together our application for the Scenic Byway, and she also put together our website. Chris, thank you so much for everything that you do to make this organization a success. Thank you for coming today.